We call this meeting to order. The Effingham County Planning Board meeting of November 14th, 2023. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We're going to begin this meeting with a word of prayer, and we're going to follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'd like to ask that everyone who can, please stand with us for both. Ask Mr. Alan Zipper if he will open us.
Gracious Heavenly Father, be with us tonight as we conduct the business of Effingham County. Be with our servicemen and women as they protect us and keep us safe. Keep our president and all our elected leaders in mind. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Zipper. Our agenda, are there any items that need to be added or deleted?
Item 11 is postponed.
Item 11 is postponed.
And sketch plan 1 staff report has had some changes from the original that was posted on the agenda center, but you do have the updated copy.
Item number 1 on the sketch plan has been updated.
Yes.
And item 11 is postponed. I guess until next meeting, is that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The biggest change is item number 11, a public hearing for Savannah Industrial Development LLC, is agent for Effingham County Industrial Development Authority. That item will not be heard tonight if there's anyone here for that item. I do apologize. Call for a motion to approve this agenda with noted changes.
Motion to approve with all corrected changes.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Minutes from October 10th. Do I hear any corrections? Call for a motion to approve these.
Motion for approval.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Thompson. All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Do we have a date for our next commissioners meeting?
December 5th.
December 5th. So all items presented tonight will be presented again at our Board of Commissioners meeting. That meeting is also a public hearing. That meeting is on December the 5th. It's in this room. It's also at 6 o'clock p.m. I'd like to ask that everyone who wishes to speak whenever the item of your concern is called, as we call these items, staff will give their report, and then the applicant will have an opportunity to come to the podium and speak, and then after they speak, everyone else, either in favor or against, will have an opportunity to voice their opinions and concerns. I'd like to ask that when you come forward to the podium that you would state your name as well as sign your name for the record. And we'd like to ask that all comments, please make them to this board, and ask that you would silence all your phones, please. Anything further?
Sketch plans are not a public hearing.
Sketch plans, yes. That's correct. All right, item number 1 is a public hearing for Catherine Shinogle, requests a conditional use for a residential business located at 475 Shearhouse Road, Zone AR2, and this is the 2nd District. Ms. Chelsea?
Yes, sir. So the applicant has applied for conditional use for a residential business to operate a home-based hair salon. The proposed business does have frontage on Shearhouse Road, which is a county-maintained road. Due to the need of customers coming on site, this business does exceed the scope of a home occupation. Staff is recommending alternative 1.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Is there a representative for Ms. Shinogle? Good evening.
Hey, I'm Catherine Schnagel.
Schnagel.
Yes,
I'm
Schnagel.
sorry.
Yes, it's a very special name.
Do you have anything you wish to add to her statements?
She pretty much covered it great. I'm just hoping I can do hair at home. Right now I'm in Pooler. The rent has just gone up insane where I can't afford it. My daughter goes to South Elementary that's 5 minutes away. It would just be awesome to be right there. I do about 3 clients a day from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then I could just run and pick her up. It would be awesome.
So by your drawing, it looked like you were just having one chair, one by
Just
yourself?
me.
Just you?
Yes, sir.
Is this in the home or is it a separate building outside?
Yes, it's at my house.
But it's inside the house itself?
Yes.
Okay. Just a room in there.
Just for me.
And then you said generally 3 customers a day? So
Yes.
you don't have multiple people there?
Just one at a time, though. I don't ever do like multiple people at once.
Anything further from the board? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Yes, sir. We may have a few questions for you in a moment.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sit down.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Yes. Could you come forward to the podium, please? Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Josh Jameson, 515 Sherrells Road. Just a couple of quick questions. I did hear mention that it was in-house. There has been a new building that popped up on that property. Is that in connection to this salon?
Do you have that information?
I don't, so I would let the applicant speak to that.
All right, we'll get an answer to that.
Okay.
Just a second.
If that building does pertain to the salon, this property is already accessed to by a easement of at least 3 different properties. So as far as the parking, I believe it's a 2-acre parcel of land. One, where will be the parking in conjunction to the easements? I believe just a couple hours a day, I don't think would be an issue, but,
So if you take a step back and look at that TV, you can see that drawing where she's laid out the parking, which will be located well within the yard, right next to the home.
okay, but that is not the home. That's the new building, if I am seeing that correctly. Is that
and-
correct?
That's my driveway. There's plenty of parking in my driveway. It'll be one customer at a time.
I'm sorry, we'll let you address and
Okay. And then with it being a residential business, how does that work with future growth in the area? Now that the 10-acre tract has just sold beside this property, is there potential of, since this is only a 2-acre, that property getting rezoned into 2 acres and then multiple home businesses popping up on that new property?
any additional development, growth, I mean, we'll come through this exact same process. We have to
Right.
come up here and ask to basically rezone a 10-acre tract down to 2 acres, and they'd have to ask to do a business, and I mean, this,
So it could potentially open the door for 5 new businesses on a neighboring tract.
I've never felt like a residential business opened the door, because each residential business is always taken at its merits. How much traffic, you know, we have a lot of limiting factors on the size of a residential business, so they're all obviously smaller, at home. So as far as a large business with a lot of traffic or anything, I mean, this doesn't set that precedent.
And this isn't changing the zoning at all. It's nothing to do with zoning. It's just approving a residential business. So there's no, property zoning changes going
Okay.
with it.
Another question, again, it pertains to if this new building is pertaining to the salon, as far as restrictions of property lines. So, with it being right on the easement, which is obviously on the property line, how far away from an adjoining property does that building have to be, assuming the new building is pertaining to the salon?
Mr. Chair, so, for the accessory building that he's speaking of, the accessory building has to be 5 feet from the property line. But for a residential business, the business has to take place within the primary dwelling per the ordinance.
By the rule, residential business in the residence.
Okay. So if it is a separate building, then it would need all new sewage,
Then it
plumbing,
would
and all
not
that
fit,
to that?
it would not work, it would not fit under a residential business.
Okay,
But she stayed in the home when she was at the podium.
okay.
Correct, Mr. Thompson, wasn't that your question?
That was my question. I think I would like to get
Yeah,
that
well,
further clarified here in a bit, for sure.
Right, okay. What else? So that clarifies that, and then, well, I guess I need that clarification. Is it a separate building?
I tell you what, if you'll
Because
step back from the podium for 1 second, we'll.
Everything's based off of
Ms.
that,
Shinagle,
so-
could you come back up real quick? I'm sorry. Could you just verify in the home or in the
It's in the home.
home?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, that, if I think something up.
All right, thank you. Was there someone else who wished to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Ricky Sarver. I own 50 acres. Me and my son's right next door to them. Looking out my front door, I can see their house and property. And they've given us their word that it's not going to be crazy and stuff like that. And as far as me and my family are concerned, we have no issues with it.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Brennan Sarver, 387 Shiraz Road. I can see her house every single day down my drive, and I have no problem with it. I think it's great, and I wish her the best of luck.
Thank you, Ms. Sarver. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Just for clarification.
Could you come back to them, please?
So just for clarification, the new building with it.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, these meetings are being taped, so
Gotcha,
please make
sorry.
all our comments in the microphone.
So
Thank you, sir.
with that new building popping up on that parcel, with it having a handicap ramp, seeming to be ADA compliant and whatnot, can we get clarification as to what that new building is or pertains to?
I mean, I would just say it's an accessory building, but, I mean, they're not asking for any, I mean, I don't think I can ask them that,
Okay,
you know, I mean, it's their
Not part of
property,
the
it's
public
their
hearing.
property.
gotcha. All right,
Okay.
that's what I need.
As long as it doesn't pertain to this business,
Right,
you know, it has no business of this board.
okay. All right,
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
before we
sir.
take a second? Would you be willing to consider a couple of just clarification conditions?
Sure.
Just to address what that concern was? That all businesses, just so it's clear, it's not a new condition, but it is all business is related and inside the existing residence. And then just that no more than 2 customers at a time, right? That would allow some overlap, right? But it would give some parameters and control. That's just something else I'd throw out, but that doesn't have to be. I just wanted to clarify that because there was so much discussion about that.
All right, Mr. Zipper, do you wish to amend your motion?
Okay, I'll amend my motion to approve it with, as long as the entire business is operated from within the house and that we don't have no more than 2 customers at a time at the house.
Motion to approve with conditions. Is there any discussion? No. Call for a second.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Higgins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. And this is a residential business, so this does not go before county commissioners, correct?
Correct.
So there will be no additional meeting for this. Thank you to everyone that spoke. Item number 2 is a public hearing for Frank McDonough. Requests a conditional use for a rural business located at 2646 Little McCall Road, it's the 4th District. Ms. Chelsea?
Yes, sir. So, I do need to correct, my staff report here. Under the alternatives, it does say residential business. The applicant is, applying for a rural business, just so you are aware of that. It was brought to my attention just recently. But this is for a rural business. So the applicant, is requesting the conditional use. The proposed business is contracted metalwork. Due to the need of an accessory structure, the applicant does not meet the requirements of home occupation. Staff is currently working to revise the business license ordinance as part of the ordinance rewrite, and we are recommending alternative number 1.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Is there a representative for Mr. McDonough?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Frank McDonough.
Can you tell us about your plans for your business?
A small machine shop. Right now, I'm a one-man band. I have some lathes and some milling machines. I've been cutting metal for a long time, and I'd like to start here and maybe have a bigger business outside of the property in the community.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the board at this time?
I think I got just a question for staff. Right, sorry. What sort of controls or parameters are there around what's being proposed, size-wise, limitations-wise, growth? I mean, not that I want you to limit your growth of your business, I just want it to be understood what the standards are.
Yes, sir. Let me look for you, and
Yeah.
I will answer your question.
Okay.
Do you have any concerns about noise?
No,
Okay.
there's hunters in the area. They make more noise than I do.
Okay.
Race cars in the neighborhood, but I
How
keep the noise to a minimum.
Does it all take place inside?
Yes, sir. I have a compressor outside that blew a bearing, and that won't happen. I'm gonna move the compressor inside and have a quiet compressor, so there'll be no noise outside.
Do you expect much traffic? I mean,
Oh,
I guess you hope so, but not.
Well, occasionally people pull into my driveway just to see what I'm doing, and they wanna know what's that machine, but other than that, no, I don't. I'll go out and get work and then deliver the parts I'm making, so there'll be little to no traffic.
And you said it's just you right now, but you hope to grow? Do you
That's right.
have an idea of how many employees, if you were to grow, you would grow to on this site?
Just 1 or 2 to get started, and then if that takes off, we'll have to move. Move the business, not the house.
I gotcha.
All right, any further questions at this time?
Mr. Chair, so to answer your question, the rural business shall be limited to no more than 1,000 square feet if in a structure. So that's per the ordinance. And then any additions or alterations for the business must be of an architectural style, so in keeping with the area. But other than that, whatever suggestions you may have,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I know we
That
dealt with
1,000
one in the
square foot
past.
limitation is okay, you understand that
I
aspect of it?
understand the building that's currently there is 1,200 square feet, but it's not all machine shop, it's
Okay.
personal items.
I know with like parking employees in the past, it was the owner plus 1 additional employee and no more than 7 vehicles, or I don't know if that was just a stipulation made for that particular rural business, but.
You just approved a rural business on Highway 30 that has 4 employees.
I mean, usually it's case by case,
Yeah,
depending on
that's what I was saying.
location.
I didn't know if it was just that one particular one we heard. but
Particular.
That's the one I remember.
It is, I mean, just looking at that aerial though, and I see there's a lot of room for, things. That's why I wanted to ask about and make sure you understood the size limitation and the growth limitations there might be with this rural business.
Anything further at this time? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak, either in favor or against this request? Any further discussion?
Do we need to make stipulations on
Ma'am,
employees
was
and?
there someone back there? Ma'am. Sir?
Should we make stipulations on employees and number of vehicles?
I think you can, if you wish to.
It is slightly different than the last one, but I mean, I do still think we should, that's why I was asking those questions, just to make sure there is some controls over how big it could grow in a situation like that, so.
I believe he suggested that no more than 2 before you would consider moving out anyways and seek a real business location, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, 2, 4, I don't think 4 would be bad. I'm not saying limited to just that, I just didn't want it to be 25 people showing out there, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
All right, somebody make a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Rule business go before commissioners?
Yes.
President, yes, it does.
And Mr. McDonough does go before commissioners.
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
Yes, sir. Yours is different. Yours is rural, hers, yes, sir. December 5th.
12-5.
5. Item 3 is a public hearing for Howard Lemon III requesting a conditional use for a residential business located at 112 Berry Lane. This is the 3rd district. Ms. Chelsea?
Yes, sir. So the applicant is requesting a conditional use for a residential business to operate a taxidermy business. This parcel is located within the Berryville Pines subdivision. Due to needing to use a shed within the parcel, this exceeds the scope of home occupation. Again, because staff is working on the business license ordinance, staff is recommending alternative 1.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for staff at this point? Is there a representative here tonight for Mr. Lemon? Is anyone opposed, in favor or opposed to this request? Discussion from the board. So I'm understanding this is a taxidermy business in-home.
So the applicant has put on his application that this will be out of a shed in the back of the parcel.
Well, he's not living in there.
Conditional use, instead of just
Yeah, how,
Yeah, that's why it's conditional use as a residential business.
it's a conditional residential business? That's how we're approaching it? Am I understanding that part of it correctly? Like, how are we approving it in a accessory
Hasn't been
building?
approved yet.
What, how are we being requested to approve it as a business if it's an
It
accessory
is-
building?
It is not in the primary residence. But the applicant wished to be a residential business.
We're approving it based on this conditional use.
The first one was also a conditional use for a residential business. So the conditional use allows you to put conditions on the use.
So if she would have asked, we could have approved her outhouse building that she had out there.
If she would have asked, that's correct.
Since this is a residential business and it will not go before commissioners, I mean, would anyone wish to entertain a motion to table it until the end of the meeting in case somebody shows up?
I'll entertain that. I'll entertain
Made a motion.
that. Make a motion to table to the end of the meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 4 is a public hearing for Edith Zamorano Mateos as agent for Noe Zamorano Mateos. Request a variance from ordinance section 5.1.4 to allow for a reduction in required building setbacks located at 132 4th Street zoned AR1, this is the first district.
Yes, sir. The applicant is requesting the reduction in required setbacks. The property is currently zoned AR1, and mobile homes are permitted use within this zoning. The new mobile home will not be able to achieve required AR1 setbacks. Staff is recommending alternative number 1.
Thank you. So, correct me if I'm wrong, they're replacing a mobile home?
Yes, sir.
It's just a different size and,
Yes, sir. And due to the size of the lot and it being a non-conforming AR1, they need the reduction in setbacks.
yeah, we've run into this a good bit in the past. Is there a representative to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Edith Zamorano Mateos.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you have anything you wish to add to her statements?
Yes, sir. It will be a family of 8 of us moving in there, so we bought a triple wide mobile home. So it does meet on the sides, but the setbacks from the front and the back does not. We would really appreciate it if we could get approved, so that we don't have to sell that one and buy a smaller one. Since we already have that one, we're just waiting on the approval for it. It's our first purchase. It's gonna be me, my mother, and my grandmother living there. So we would really appreciate if we got approved.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Questions at this time?
What setbacks are we approving it to then? Is it a variance, but how close? Like, we need to define that. So we're not saying we're going to 0, right?
I believe that we are short by 25 on the front and the back, because we were supposed to meet a 50 setback from the front and the back.
Okay.
And we recently found out that we'd not, the new map that showed up, it cuts us 25 and 25 in the back from the little alley and the road in the front.
So side setbacks are already 25, so it'll be 25 around the perimeter.
Oh,
Looks like 28 and 27.
so what is that sketch of then we're seeing there? 90 feet, 50 feet. That's the sides. Where's the front? 4th Street's the front, right?
Yes.
The front should be 40. So the front setback should be 40, not what you're seeing there, which is showing as 90, I believe. The front setback should be 40.
So the variance is just for the rear?
Well, the way that's labeled, there are no variances.
That's what it looks
requested.
like to me.
But that's where
Yeah.
my question was coming from. The setbacks are from the property lines too. Do we know where the property lines are? Right? I mean, that sketch, I mean, I'm not opposed to granting. I just want to make sure we're clear what we're approving.
I will get your answer. 1 second, please.
Yeah, that's,
Usually we do a rezoning with non-conforming too, to make it fit. Is it?
You can, I think there's a bunch of these along 4th Street and all those that I'd like to just make them all non-conforming.
Is this the only plat or any kind of drawing that you have?
Yes, that's the only one. The first one that we thought, when we purchased, we thought it was 200 feet long, and it turns out that it was 100 feet once I sent in my application. She suggested that we couldn't rezone the area. She told us that we had to come and apply for a variance. So that's why we were 50 feet short, and 25 feet short in the front and the back as well.
So the variance is for 40 feet in the front. That is it.
to 40 feet. We're
To
not
40
giving a
feet.
40-foot variance. We're giving a 10-foot variance to 40 feet.
Right. Yes.
I'm fine with that as long as it fits. I just,
Will you state that in the motion too, please?
We're not ready for a motion there?
Sure,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's fine.
But when you do, yeah.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Any additional discussion? Call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve a 10-foot front yard setback variance on, sorry. Just trying to find the address. Well, yeah, for, map 296A, parcel 45.
132 4th Street.
Oh, yeah, 132 4th Street. Couldn't see the bold.
Have a motion to approve. Is there any discussion?
No.
Call for a second.
I'm gonna second it.
Have a second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, ma'am. Item 5 is a public hearing for Denny Chapman, requests a variance from ordinance section 5.14 to allow for a reduction in required building setbacks located at 641 Half Moon Road, zoned AR1, it's the 4th district. Ms. Chelsea.
Yes, sir. So the applicant again is requesting a variance from required building setbacks. This property is also currently a non-conforming AR1 lot. Due to the width of the lot, the applicant cannot meet required building setbacks. Staff is recommending alternative 1, and I will get those exact measurements for you in one moment.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion this time? Is there a representative here for Mr. Chapman? Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. So I'm Denny Chapman. Basically, I own a little quarter acre on the Ebenezer Creek. And it's got a whole lot of potential. It's got a well, septic tank already. There's already a cabin on it, 900 square foot plus. And it's literally, my overhang is literally right on the property line already. And I was gonna just remodel that, but after I had my structural engineer come in and look, all the wood piers are rotted. And so I don't wanna put all this money into something that's no good. So basically, I've already got an engineer structural set of plans drawn. This the exact same footprint, the same foot plan. And basically, I just wanted to use that same foot plan and just maybe slide it over and maybe kind of center it up more with the lot and kind of get it off the main property line.
Are you familiar with how many feet you're asking for?
I mean, basically, I would just like to move it over maybe 2 or 3 feet.
Okay. Do you know, do you have the measurements?
Yes, sir. So this would be for the side setbacks. And so it's hard to see on that image that you're looking at, but on the one side, he needs 8 feet, and on the other, he needs 11 feet. So let me see if I can. Oh. So right here, he's showing 17 feet, and right here, he's showing 14 feet. These need to be 25 feet, typically for AR1, so 8 feet on this side, 11 feet on this side.
Yeah, so basically it's sitting kind of crooked on the lot, and that corner's like way on the property line, and really I would really just like to square it up.
Is that the existing structure underneath the label 73? Is it way back on the back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's it.
So the front corner touches the property line, basically.
There's a bunch of stuff on the property.
Yeah, so actually it's, so if you, it's just to the right.
Underneath the trees, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How wide's the lot? Do we have that plan?
It's 64 feet.
Okay, so we applied the.
Well, it's
setbacks.
actually 64 feet on the angle, but if you was to just, square it in the middle, it's only like 50 feet.
Okay.
But basically, I just want to build the same thing that's there. Well, it's not the same thing, but the same foot plan. Just, make it nice. It's got a floating dock out there already and a huge gazebo over the water, the deepest part of the creek. It's just so nice to just go to waste.
Any additional discussion? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? There's no further discussion. I'll call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve with staff.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Higgins. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Item 6, a public hearing for Doug Bean Signs Incorporated as agent for Faith Bible Baptist, request a variance from ordinance section 3.38.10 to allow for the placement of a monument sign located at 6781 Georgia, Highway 17 South. Zoned AR2, it's in the 1st District.
Yes, sir. So the applicant, again, is requesting that variance. This parcel is located on Highway 17. Due to that, they do have a 30-foot Georgia Department of Transportation setback from the road. The applicant is proposing that double-sided electronic sign. Staff is recommending alternative number 1.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a representative for Faith Bible Baptist? Yes, sir. Good evening.
Hey, Julian Mathis III. And I'll figure this out.
Do you have anything to add to her comments?
Just that communication with the community is crucial, especially for a church trying to grow and everything. And Countryside Baptist is also the same. I think it's AR2 zone, and they have a bigger sign than this. So just take that into account.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, I did.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so again, I just want to clarify, so we're varying the height and the sign area square footage?
Yes, sir. So the allowable square footage in an AR2 district is 16 square feet.
Okay.
So,
And this is how much? 32?
This is, by the way, I understand the code, it'd be close to, 11, 32, so we're.
8 foot wide, 10 foot tall. I'm not sure what you're talking about with square feet, how that comes out.
That's 80.
Yeah, well, what we're looking at, it's got labels on 11 square feet of sign area and 32, so that's 33, or 43, I can't do math. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. I mean,
Any additional discussion? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? If there's no further discussion, I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Zipper. All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Item 7 is a public hearing for Alex Long, request a variance from ordinance section 5.8.6 to allow for smaller lots in R6 subdivision located at Blue Jay Road, zone R6, 4th District. Ms. Chelsea.
So in January of 2019, the Board of Commissioners approved the rezoning for this subdivision to R6. At that time, the ordinance required that lot widths be a minimum of 60 feet with an area of 6,600 square feet. The applicant has applied to go through the final plat process, and in doing so, staff discovered that some of the lots did not meet that 60-foot lot width requirement. So the applicant is applying for this variance because he has sold all of but 11 lots within this subdivision. So staff is recommending alternative number 1.
All right. Questions, comments for staff?
My question would be, how did we miss that in review?
Yes, sir. So within engineering review and preliminary plat, it was missed, and so we are going through this process to make up for that.
Not all the lots. It's
11.
not all the lots.
It is not all the lots.
No, I heard 11, all but 11 are sold, I thought I heard.
Oh, about 11 or so.
You're
Yeah.
less than 10% of the entire subdivision.
How y'all doing? Alex Long. So I took over this project in 2020. But yes, so it's only a couple of the lots, I think it's 6 or 7 lots that don't meet the 60-foot setback. They do, however, meet the 60-foot minimum at the building setback line. However, I guess it was under former staff, it was 60-foot setback line at the building line was how it was calculated, not at the road frontage. So we have some lots on some of the curvature and cul-de-sacs that don't meet it at the road, but they meet it at the building setback line. So we're requesting a variance for the 60-foot because it's under the old 2019, it was at the road, not the building setback line.
So the current interpretation is at building setback.
Correct.
Correct. But under the old 2019, in which this property was zoned and approved, it was not at the building setback line,
Yeah.
even though I believe that was staff's
And we-
understanding.
and-
Like I said, I took this project over after the recommendation.
Yeah.
But, so we meet the 60 foot
At building
at building setback line. We just do not meet it at the road. And according to the 2019, there was not specific words or verbiage in the ordinance. So versus road versus, or road frontage versus building setback line.
So that
So
question from a standpoint of how it did, in my opinion, that's how it got missed, because that's, the standard of now is building, that's way mostly time that is measured, like on just, so.
So we
I
meet
mean, I
today's
question
standard,
why do we
we're not meeting
even
2019
need
standard?
to approve a variance for it, but I guess we do. I mean, that's,
Well, in addition to that, staff is actually going to do final plat approvals. So we're physically going out and meeting with the folks and going over everything that a checklist on a final plat is. And so sometimes we find things.
Okay. Any additional discussion at this time? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
That's good.
Second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Mr. Long. Item number 8 is public hearing for Allen and Carrie Newkirk. Request to rezone 9.07 acres from R1 to B3 to allow for outdoor screen storage located at 399 Hodgeville Road, 2nd District. Miss Chelsea.
So the applicant is requesting to rezone to B3 Highway Commercial for outdoor screen storage. Screen storage is a permitted use within the B3 zoning district. This development will have 30-foot vegetative buffer around the property line. There is approximately 136 feet of frontage along Hodgeville Road. Sketch plan will be the next step in the process if this is approved. Staff recommends alternative number 1.
Any questions for staff at this time?
yeah, what other uses are allowed in B3?
Yes, sir. I will pull that information for you.
That's.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, so
Not many.
while she's looking that up, good evening. Got to get your name.
Alan Newkirk.
Thank you, sir. And do you have some additional comments?
I put a little sketch in as to what we're planning on doing. It's really just a boat storage. We won't be paving anything. Well, we will have a concrete driveway right there in the right of way to get into the property, which will be a new commercial, whatever the county requirements are for a commercial driveway. So that'll be there. We'll fence it in. We'll put up some lights, and the idea is it'll basically stay as much grass as possible. We'll rock where we have to rock, which I envision a rock driveway. And then if we need any more rock, we'll put that in. And then we weren't, it's a lot of property to rezone one way, but the front of it's so narrow with the setbacks. If we just did like 1 acre or 2 acres, we wouldn't be, it really wouldn't allow for a lot of land to do anything. So we adjoin industrial. The Research Forest Tract is our adjoining property neighbor to the south.
The property across the road, well, just kind of catty corner across the road is the diesel repair shop. I think it's like 5 acres of B3. And this obviously won't take a lot of traffic. It's on Hodgeville. It's just boat and RV storage. We don't have any plans at this time to do anything else other than that. And you know, with the roundabouts coming and the parkway opening up, you know, moving traffic to the parkway over the next couple of years, I don't really see this, you know, being a traffic issue. We do have there's an existing berm along that we installed years ago when we first moved in. We put a berm. It's a 5 or 6 foot vegetated berm on the south side and the rear of the property, as well as whatever is required vegetative buffer that we'll have to put on, you know, on the other property lines.
And that buffer is, did you say 15 feet?
30 feet.
30 feet, 30 feet. And so I guess before we go over the long list of B3, I mean, do you have a problem, I mean, with us only, I mean, if this is approved for this use and this use only?
That's our only plan at this point in time. To be honest, we were kind of looking at doing something later on down the road, but I saw Mr. Kennedy go through this process, and I didn't realize there was a way to do this without hiring an engineer and spending a whole lot of money. When I saw Mr. Kennedy go through it, I realized that this was an option, so that's why we went ahead and did it. But I don't have any plans to do anything other than, if you had asked me 3 months ago, we were 3 or 4 years away from being able to do this because of the cost, infrastructure costs to go in. But at this point in time, we have nothing. Obviously, Hodgeville Road is changing a lot currently. So, you know, if in 6 months, I can't say, but I'd be happy with, you know, if you limited it to outdoor storage or however y'all wanted to limit it, I'm fine with that. And if we have to change it in the future, we'll come back and ask for it.
Well, I mean, that'll be the process. If it's limited and
Yeah, if you, assuming it was approved with that limited condition, you'd have to basically rezone it again.
I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any other plans at this point in time. But like I said, I may, you know, things change and things are changing a lot on Hodgeville right now, so.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, sir.
The frontage on Hodgeville, what are you planning to do to screen it from there? That's the biggest impact.
And I'm sorry I didn't address that. When we first moved in, I believe it's been 10 or 15 years ago, I went and planted Virginia pines and wax myrtles all the way around the property. On one side, I put a vegetated berm as well. So the front of the property is probably a 30 to 40 to 50 foot mature vegetative buffer in right now. You can't, it'd be hard to see. I live on the adjoining 5 acres and it's hard to see my house when you drive by now.
You can't see it when you go by it every day.
And I think that's great. I just want to make sure it stays, you know, that there would be some, because currently our zoning standard wouldn't require that to necessarily stay, right?
No, and that's the plan, is for it to stay. Because I don't like to see traffic myself from my house, so.
And then, does the county have any sort of controls over the things being stored on these lots not being there for a decade and nobody moving them and they look terrible?
Not yet.
Are you going to control things not sitting there for a decade so they look terrible? There's a challenge to these sometimes.
Well, that would be a market thing, and obviously the market would I mean, I believe the customer base would want, it's kind of like having a campground. You don't want rundown trailers there. You want nice stuff so you can charge more money, you know, theoretically. So the market would dictate that I keep things nice there.
Yeah, the concern I have is the aesthetics from Hodgeville.
But everything there would have, I mean, and this is nothing that y'all would dictate, but everything there would have insurance as part of the policy to, you know, as part of the agreement to store there. They'd have to keep insurance on it. So I would assume that nobody would keep junk there with insurance plus paying lot rent.
Is that tagged and insurance or just insurance?
It would be, if it's a vehicle, it would be tag and insurance. That would be part of the requirement. I can't think of anything that wouldn't fall under that off the top of my head. It'd either be a boat or RV or you know, somebody's extra car or whatever, I don't know.
Anything further this time? No. All right, Mr. Newkirk, we may have some more questions for you in a moment. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request?
Lynn Jeffers.
Good evening.
455, 457, and 441. In the west south corner that you're looking at, that's me. The L right there. He has a good buffer on between me and him. I just like to have a natural buffer. He's saying 20 feet. I'd like to have more in back of me in that corner.
It's 30, right?
Yes, sir.
It's 30 feet, Mr. Jeffers. He's required for 30.
Can I request a little more? Natural growth, what's there? That's all I'm asking for.
I don't know, I guess that's a request we'd have to ask from him.
If that's agreeable with him,
I'm agreeable to an extent, yes, sir.
Hey, we'll get him back up here in just a moment, but
right, the
it
natural
is,
growth that he has there now, which is a few pines, you know.
but he's required to have a minimum of 30 feet.
Mr. Chair, can we define the word more?
We will get Mr. Newkirk to
Okay,
find.
well, I don't know if he knows what more is yet.
I got
But
you.
it's fine with me what he's doing.
Okay.
But I'd like to have.
Okay,
More.
thank you. More.
More. Okay.
Is there anyone else wishes to speak either in favor or against this request? Yeah. Mr. Newkirk, would you? So I guess we're talking about that one lot line. That'll be what, phase 2 and phase 3? Or that'll be all of, part of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3?
Phase 1 and phase 2, right?
Just the rear, your rear?
Just the rear.
Yeah, yes, sir.
You got it on the side.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm agreeable to any of that. I mean,
So you agreeable to another additional 5 feet, 10 feet?
yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many?
100. Maybe a little shy of that.
So which property line are we talking about? I'm sorry, I'm just not following.
It'd be, I believe it'd be the rear of Mr. Jeffers' property,
To the rear, right.
which would be the what?
Yeah.
That southwest corner.
Hugh Dean Wiggins.
Yeah, that's right. 10 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. 40 at that one lot line. Thank you, Mr. Newkirk.
Thank y'all.
Any further discussion? Good. I call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I do
Yeah.
have that list of B3.
I think we're gonna condition it.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Sorry.
So
you
it's
looked that
easier
up.
to name, it's easier to name the one than
Yes,
all those.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
I
I
get
don't
you.
want to scare anybody. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll
Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
I'll make a motion to approve with the following conditions, that the use be limited to only the boat and outside storage, let me get that exactly right, outdoor screen storage as proposed. No other uses from the B3 would be allowed, as well as an additional 10 feet for a total of a 40-foot vegetative buffer along what I'm seeing here is the Hugh Dean Wiggins parcel, but I don't know exactly how to define that, but
I think
if
that's
I've
good.
got that correct.
I think that's good.
Okay.
Got a motion to approve with stipulations. Is there any discussion? Call for a second.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Mr. Newkirk.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeffers. Item number 9 is a public hearing for Veronica Navarro as agent for Maria Moreno Salgado and Jose Martinez Olvera. Request to rezone 5 acres from R1 to AR1 to allow for horses on the property located at 295 Lone Pond Road. This is the 5th district.
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Chelsea.
So this parcel is 5 acres, which is the minimum lot size for AR1 parcels. This zoning is not conflicting with surrounding zonings. The applicant has stated that they would like to have this zoning for 2 horses on the property. Staff is recommending alternative number 1.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion at this time? Questions for staff? Is there a representative for Ms. Navarro? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Veronica Navarro, and yes, on behalf of my friends, previous clients and friends, I'd like to request that you consider this rezoning. They recently purchased the property, very young couple, their very first property, and they're just hoping that they can have, again, a horse or 2. The previous owners had chickens, and many of the neighbors mentioned you don't need to rezone, but checking with your office, it's just better to do that and have things done the right way.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Discussion from the board? Questions? I mean, I'm assuming when they bought it, they were aware that they couldn't have horses?
During due diligence, and like I said, contacting your office, yes, they were aware, and that is the reason that we're making the change. I was told that, I'm the buyer's, their agent.
Okay.
And so I was told that because there are many other properties surrounding that particular lot with an AR1 zone, that it would be, an easy process to get approved.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak, either in favor or against this request? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that property joins me too. Are they gonna leave a buffer?
This property adjoins you too?
Oh, Long Pond, that's wrong.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
I apologize, gentlemen. I'm having surgery, so this just makes me feel more comfortable.
You're fine.
My name is Ileana Shalev. I live at 364 Long Pond Road. I don't believe Ms. Navarro's being forthcoming. We're not talking about chickens that lay eggs. We're talking about 100 gamecocks, which is what we were led to believe, horses. And once they're zoned AR1, they can have anything they want. They can put a bunch of hogs back there. There are a lot of children on that road. They take the bus in the morning, they get dropped off in the afternoon. Our concern is what kind of animals they're gonna have, if the animals can get loose. The others will express their concerns as well, but it's mainly, it's mainly that.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask where she lives on that map?
Ma'am, could you give us your address?
364 Long Pond Road.
So
Right
yeah,
here.
thin one right there, yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm William Harrington. I live at 299 Long Pond Road, which is directly adjacent to this property. They've already brought the chickens in, and these chickens are more than just chickens. They never stop. They crow. I don't know how many roosters. She said 100. I don't know how many, but they never stop. And it's like I can hear it inside of my home. My concern is that, as she brought up, if they do, I don't have a problem with a horse, but if you approve a horse, what does that open the door to in the future? My driveway comes down and is probably 150 feet from where his chickens are. It's already got a smell. I mean, chickens are fine if you want to farm eggs or anything like that, but gamecocks, I'm not so sure about, So I'm just concerned about what this might open the door to. If they decide to leave and it gets on, the next guy can do what? What can he do? I mean, can he put cows on this 5 acres? Can he put hogs on the side?
Ms. Chelsea? or go
Mr.
ahead,
Chair,
Mr.
can I ask a question, please? So, if there are fowl on an R1 property now, we just changed the ordinance. It's not been finalized yet to allow up to 4. So if there's more than 4, then we need to send out code enforcement. We need pictures of more than that to send out code enforcement. So I'm just letting them know that. That's the process.
Okay, okay. Well, they have vegetation between us, so I can't, I'm not gonna invade the property to get pictures, but, I mean, that's.
Well, thank you.
Audibly, you can tell that there's more than 4.
And the coop has to be 150 feet off of the property lines,
Off
all
the
4
property line.
sides. Yep.
All 4 sides, okay.
Yep, just give you that information. Yes.
So,
Off of the current zoning.
the new zoning.
That's off the current one and the
current-
new one, but it's
okay,
off the current.
Yeah, yeah,
So the-
current.
Oh,
For
it's
the
200
new-
off the current, yeah.
And for the new ordinance, the coop would have to be 150 feet from residential dwellings.
Right.
So.
Not necessarily the property line, but.
Right, residential
correct, it
dwelling,
would-
that's right.
And
yeah.
not from their home, from if your residence is close. So it would have to be from your residence and from neighboring residents.
Right, now, is there is a limit to
Yes,
how
sir.
many?
0 to 4.
Okay, thank you.
That's under the current zoning, though, not.
Under the
not
current
what they're
zoning,
applying
it's
for.
0.
Right, for
Okay.
R1, it is
For your
0.
new one, this.
It's 0 to 4 for the new
Under
one.
the current
Right.
zoning of this property now is what I was
Ordinance
saying.
Right.
is changing,
Okay, yeah,
so
all right.
that no more than 4 chickens.
Mr. Chair, did you have a question?
He asked if it was moved to AR1, what would that allow?
So, I did put this on your staff report as well. So it does state that, for AR1, all commercial agricultural pursuits and structures incidental thereto, including dairy products, livestock, poultry and poultry products, field crop, and forestry as well. So, AR1 does allow
Animals,
for,
yeah.
all animals. Now, they do have
Anything.
specific, their housing, like the coop does have specific setbacks, so, to the, dwellings, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. Yes, sir.
My name's Kenneth Whale. I live at 234 Long Pond Road, directly across from this lot. And as he said, I can hear the chickens over there. I can't hear them in my house, but you walk out early in the morning, it's, wow, I don't know how many he's got. But I also know that the buffer that was across the road, that's already done been cleared. I mean, it's like I hate to say it, an eyesore when you look across the road there. It's got a 6-foot fence around it that, according to what I've heard, it's gonna have barbed wire and everything else on top of it, look more like a compound than a residential place to start with. So I'm not, like I said, I was raised on a farm. I'm from Wilcox County, and I do know that cows, horses, and they do get to stinking. And so, I'm not for this, and I bought this place up there thinking I would never have to deal with nothing like this, because if I'd wanted a farm, I'd have moved on out in the country. I wouldn't have bought it in a residential place to start with.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lamb.
Can I ask a question for the next?
Could you hold 1 second? Yes, sir.
Just, can
You-
just
you
clarify
come to
the
the podium.
colors on the map?
Yes, sir, so this pink color that you're looking at, this is R1. The light green is AR1, so your agricultural residential one, and then the darker green here, this is AR2, which is your agricultural residential 2, so less than 5 acres. The light green then is 5 acres or more, but both agricultural residential zoning.
So the light green is what's being proposed to be zoned to?
Yes, so the light green is what they are proposing to zone 2.
Yeah, all right, so yes, sir, sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Gerald Phillips. I live at 295 Long Pond Road, or let me, a little nervous sitting in front of y'all. So this is the first time
You're good, buddy.
I live at 291 Long Pond Road, and we just built our house about a year and a half ago. And the neighbor beside us, lived there. He just up and sold his house, moved out, and we get some new neighbors. Didn't know who he was. I spoke with the gentleman. He told me that he just bought the house, and He had 100 chickens, is what he told me, and he wanted to get some horses. And I asked the question, you know, I don't know how much land you got to have horses, but what do you do with 100 chickens? Is what I wanted to know. And he never really answered the question. So later then I heard somebody said that they heard, and this is all hearsay, that they was gamecock chickens. And so he was putting up a fence, which is 5 foot, a cyclone fence, 5 foot around his property, and 2 strands of barbed wire, which I agree with one of my neighbors. It looks like a compound. This is pretty well like a subdivision. It ain't a farmland. I know that a couple weeks ago, whatever day they moved in on the weekend, and Monday I didn't hear them chickens, but Tuesday morning when I got up, I live on the front left corner of this property, and I could hear these chickens. And I got, you know, during the summertime, I don't want to smell all that. I mean, my wife's got some chickens, don't get me wrong. I got nothing against somebody having some chickens for laying eggs or whatever, for friends or family. But that many chickens and that much noise, to me, it's a bother. It's a noise ordinance that basically bothers you. I know during the summertime it's going to smell, so we're going to have to smell that out there by the pool. My neighbor on the backside, they couldn't make it tonight, but it's just going to be a problem down the road. And I know I got grandkids that's 8 years old, 2 grandkids that stay with us. One lives with me, one stays with me all the time. And I don't know what kind of animals they're going to have, horses or what they're going to get, or they sell that property and somebody else buys it and brings cows or pigs back there, or hogs, whatever you want to call it. I'm not no farm boy, but I just want to make sure that later down the road, that, you know, I had no problem with the guy having some chickens, but not 100 chickens. And a horse or something, I don't think there's enough land there to have a horse. I don't know how far the fence has to be off somebody's property to have a horse to come up to your land, or, you know, a kid go to pet it or whatever, or jump over it, or get in my pool, or no telling whatever. But I have a lot of concerns, and I've done some research, and I found something online. It was saying 300 feet from a dwelling. And I printed this off if you want to look at it.
For what?
Basically, as far as a setback from a dwelling, y'all saying 200 feet.
Oh, what
zone are you in?
What's that far? I mean,
I found this online looking.
I know, but I mean, what are you measuring? I mean, chickens or?
Well,
fowl.
I guess
cows.
The horses, it's got to be 200 feet, correct? Is it 200 feet or 300 feet from a? It's how far?
So
300.
And it depends on the zoning district that you're in.
Okay, so they have to be 300 feet from a dwelling, from somebody else's house, not the person lives there.
That's right.
There's not enough room there to do that for horses. The chickens, like I said, I mean, I don't mind a guy having some chickens, don't get me wrong, but I just think having 100 chickens and all that is going to be a nuisance in our neighborhood. And there's a bunch of new subdivision in Timber Creek, and I ain't happy about it, and I ain't happy about the fence. I know I can't do much about the fence, but it looks like a compound, and I'm sorry, but
All right,
I just tell you how I feel. And I have some pictures, if y'all want to look at. I don't know if you want me to show them diagrams of the lot, how far it is from people's houses, from the house on the right side, the house on the left side, within 200 feet. There ain't a whole lot of room there to put horses there. Yeah, so, but.
All right.
Question.
Yes, sir.
The fencing that's going up, is it around the front side of the house as well, or does it stop at the front of the house?
He's got it on the front side. Can I show you the picture?
Yeah, here, let me see the pictures, yeah.
You want to see it? See it better that way. This is the fence he's put up. The fence guy told me he's gonna put 2 strands of barbed wire on top of it. And like I said, it looks like a compound.
Mr. Chair, the distance for horses for stables is 200 feet per the ordinance right now.
200 feet from a dwelling,
Yes, sir.
from the adjacent dwelling,
No matter the zoning.
That's your house?
no matter the zoning?
Yes, sir.
So it would
Has to
have to
be
be
AR1. You can't have
AR1.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
that's right. Which is the reason for the request.
Yes, sir.
And there's,
Can I stop him? I mean, are you good with
that's
him?
fine, that's fine.
Mr. Phillips,
It's fine. I just wanted to,
And it gives a good transition from the
Anybody wanna see the
AR1 to
pictures?
the R1.
It's
that's
okay.
already right there, I think, so.
I guess I was just going to,
Is what I'm saying.
I'm not sure if what the code says related to fencing in the front yards. I know there's some spots where we have limitations on that. Not
It
sure
goes
about
out to
that
the,
zoning.
almost to the property pin at the front, out by the road, within probably 10 feet off the edge of the road.
So, Mr. Chair, what I'd prefer is that the rezoning part of it, and then we'll handle the code enforcement.
Yeah,
part of it
absolutely,
this
yeah,
week,
that's 100%.
including those that have chickens that don't have a permit.
So, thank you, Mr. Phillips.
All right, thank you.
It's not, yeah. Low-ish.
Yes, sir.
Anthony Noto. I live at 2870 Rinkin Stillwell Road. I have a petition of several individuals who are in favor of the rezoning. I don't know if I want to present this to the board.
You
In
wanna-
favor of?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. You want the notebook back?
No, sir. Our family moved out there about 8 years ago from Savannah because we could have animals. It is the county, it is a rural area. I know some people would like it to be a subdivision. It's not, and the residents in the area that are for it appreciate not having HOAs and being able to do these.
Can I ask where you live?
2870 Rinkin
2870.
Stillwell.
It's on up, says 2869 at the top. All right, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so I mean, my kids and my family, we walk down Long Pond into Timber Creek. My mother-in-law lives there, so you know we're not very far from the 295 Long Pond. And the people on the petition, my family and I have no problem with the rezoning as long as they're following all of the regulations within the AR1.
All right, thank you, Mr. Noto.
So, Mr. Chair, I do want to let you know that will be entered into the minutes, it will be entered into, you know, the record. Once we do that, then we can make that petition available to the public.
Okay, thank you. Could I, ma'am, go ahead.
We also have a petition of
Okay, would you?
Yeah,
it's- You're fine.
No, it's been entered into the minutes already when you sent it to me.
May I-
It's in their packet, yep. You did the right thing.
Sorry, sir. I'll get you in a second.
sorry.
You're good, you're good.
Janelle Mullen Campbell at 236 Long Pond Road. I used to do planning and zoning, and I realize how effective it can be and can't be, you know, amongst the whole neighborhood. Right now, my worries are smell, visual, and sound. Yes, there has been already, there's a rooster that crows all, we get up and go to the gym in the morning. Anyways, there's already a sound. Second of all, it is an eyesore. And I'm sorry, if you're going to want this, you need to, you know, purchase property for this. You need to be outside the zone. My worry right now is it could become a boxed-in zone if people perceive to want to keep it residential around, or vice versa the other way. Those are hard to change. I love animals. Really, what it is it's the quality of life, and I'm really concerned about the acreage per animal. I don't know how much that's been addressed. Again, who's going to be manning this and making sure that they're within the zone? I'm afraid what's gonna happen is, again, if it gets sold, what's eventually gonna happen, but already it is an eyesore. There is stuff in their yard, some garbage that is accumulated, and that's why what we wanted to live there, was just kind of be outside the zone. And there is farm animals around the area, which I am aware of the zones there. And they've got enough acreage per animal, so the smells and things are not there. This is seriously a small property unless they clear out more, which again, it's gonna be another eyesore. I'm just again worried about smell, visual, and sound, and the quality of life that we have there.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mullen. Campbell, thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Robin Williams. I'm at 403 Long Pond. And I'm a formal, from the farm also, had cows, horses, chickens, ducks, goats. But a lot of chickens, I have a problem with that. We had 120 chickens, and Timber Creek is right across the road from this proposed, and there'd be a lot of noise with a lot of chickens. I hear chickens now at 4 o'clock in the morning where I'm at now, but I don't have a problem with it. I'm a retiree, and but the gentleman right here, he lives across the street.
Sir.
I don't have a problem with that, but everybody to their own opinion. But I'm just saying that Timber Creek and the retirees along 403 Lone Pond will have a problem with a lot of chickens. There's some kind of way to, I don't have a problem with a few chickens, or a former horse owner, I don't have a problem with a horse. But the noise problem, I will have a problem with, and probably the police department too. So that's up to y'all, whatever y'all want to do with it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, sir.
Kenneth Lamb again. What actually constitutes, like when we're talking about animals, you say 5 acres? Does taking in all the buildings and all that that's on this property count with that 5 acres?
It's a 5
Because
acre.
they're building sheds out there now everywhere, as you can see them from Lincoln Stillwell Road.
It's a 5 acre parcel.
So it don't matter what you got on it. Well, okay.
Well, that's not necessarily.
Well,
and how about, and another thing, just like we all have deep wells. I have a deep well. You got to be so far from a septic tank. You got all these chickens and horses and all like that running around too. So there's got to be something there, I would think too. You know.
So anything over 200 square feet has got to be a building permit applied for. So if
They're
there's
building sheds out there now.
I'm well aware that there's a lot going on besides 2 horses appearing out of nowhere. So as I said before, we're addressing the rezoning, and then we need to do code enforcement on the property.
so we're
out
going,
there if necessary.
we're going to get to the
Yeah.
code enforcement part, but right now we just got to stick to whether or not we're going to take this from an R1 zoning to an AR1. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on that? Very, very quickly, Mr. Noto.
Yes, sir. I would also like to address if they sell the property and someone else moves in, all this theoretical stuff. A lot of things could happen. We're talking about the current owners and how they like to zone it. Also a reminder that there are plenty of AR1s, including myself. I have about 50 chickens, 6, 7 hogs, a bunch of goats. I present no odor or no problem to any of my surrounding neighbors. So I
yes,
like to say that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. You may rebut, but some of the comments that were made.
If possible, if you could do it with the, under conditions that, may please everyone. Again, these are new homeowners in the area. The last thing they would want to do is to upset the surrounding neighbors. But it is 5 acres, and again, if we were to switch the zoning, any future neighbors, which again, my friends would like to make this their permanent home, but things change. In the event someone else comes in, they have to abide by the current codes, the codes that you implement. And so it really wouldn't, again, it's a hypothetical, but it's not like someone can come in the future and do whatever they pleased with it. They would have to still come before you and, request any changes or modifications to this, so.
That is correct, but the hard part is policing, so in R1, they're allowed 4 chickens.
Not yet.
Not yet, but the new proposed, bec-
Only,
sir,
hands only.
hens only. So
And this might be something they don't know and they would need
this,
to know.
this is proposed, and these are the conversations we're having because it becomes so hard to police these things. I mean, we believe in private landowner rights around here and going on piece of property, as Mr. Harrington said. I mean, so it becomes hard to police those things. So I think for me, this truly stands on a rezoning decision and a rezoning decision only.
Okay, sounds good.
Is there anyone else?
While she's up there, can I ask for a clarification from staff? What sort of buffers will this end up triggering if it's down zone to the adjacent R1? I believe the
AR1?
AR1, I believe will
R1.
have to provide a buffer to the residential. Pretty sure we just confirmed that with something else, so just.
Not much.
It depends on the timing of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes,
That does make a bit of a difference. And then I guess my other question would be, so this is R1 currently?
Yes, sir.
What's the minimum lot size for R1?
So half an acre would be the minimum
without water and sewer.
without water and sewer.
You have to have an acre for a well and a septic.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure
If you
everybody
have
understood
commu-
that was
if
5
you
acres.
have
that
community
could be-
one or the other, you can drop down to half acre.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm gonna close public comment this time. Discussion from the board.
I just think it acts as a good buffer from the AR1 that's out there now to the R1 that's already existing.
Well, when I look at the map, I agree. I mean, it's zoned R1, and that's what they were buying when they bought it.
I agree with that. It gives a good straight line buffer to all the R1 from the AR1.
Yeah.
R1 to AR1.
Any additional discussion? I'll call for a motion.
Make a motion to deny.
I have a motion for denial. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Smith. All those in favor of denial? Do you have a clarification? All right. All those in favor of denial? Any opposed to denial? Motion carries 4-1. Goes to the county commissioners. This is merely a recommendation. December the 5th. Thank you to everyone that spoke.
May I ask for clarification? I'm sorry, this is the first time that I do. So this is denied to change the zoning?
This, our recommendation to the county commissioners, who will meet in this room at 6:00 PM on December the 5th, is a recommendation that the zoning is not to be changed, that it remains an R1 parcel.
So the commissioners can accept the recommendation, they can change the recommendation.
That's
they can
correct.
table the recommendation.
It is simply a recommendation. You don't need a break?
I do, actually.
We're gonna take a short break, a few minutes. Call this meeting back to order. All right, item number 10 is a public hearing for Jerome S. Connor, request to rezone 18.67 acres from PD commercial to PD residential to allow for a multifamily residential development located on Hodgeville Road. It's the second district. Miss Chelsea.
Yes, sir. So at the April 5th, 2022 Board of Commissioners meeting, this rezoning was actually denied. So the applicant has come back again to request a rezone from PD commercial to PD residential for 207 multifamily units. Water and sewer will be provided by Effingham County, and staff is recommending alternative number 1.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions at this time for staff?
Why did you change your recommendation? Or did you recommend approval on the first time?
So staff did recommend approval the first time. We are recommending approval this time as well with conditions. So if you look at your staff report, you can see that we are recommending the condition that the block length shall comply with the subdivision designs. Within their PD text, they did not suggest that exclusion. So our ordinance explains that block length shall not exceed 800 nor be less than 400 feet. So that exception was not in their PD text. We also suggested that a sketch plan be approved by the Board of Commissioners and that site development plan shall comply with Effingham County Water Resource Protection and the Stormwater Management Local Design.
All right, any further questions or comments?
I just want, I guess, and maybe it's in the text about it. Do we know what the buffer is that they were proposing along Hodgeville?
So within the original text, I did not see that buffer specifically listed. This buffer, however, is 25 feet, I believe.
Yeah, we'll clarify.
All right, is give me 1 minute, Mr. Jeffers, and I'll call you up here. Is there a representative for Mr. Connor?
Yes, sir. My name's Hunter Whitfield here on behalf of Mr. Connor. Work for Hussey Gay Bell. To the point earlier about the maximum number of units, I believe you said 207.
Yes, sir.
Our current concept plan that's actually included with the submittal that was made actually has 171, so it would be a maximum. And to speak a little bit about what I assume will be the issue that will come up as traffic concern, I would just start off first and foremost by saying that under the current zoning of commercial, if something were to come here of that nature, that's going to be a much higher traffic contributor than this townhome development would be, factoring that on average we anticipate 4.5 trips per unit, would be significantly less than what a commercial development would bring here. Additionally, we know that there are improvements already being made for Effingham Parkway and Gateway Parkway, and if we were to receive this rezoning approval through the PDD, we're probably 2 years out from being ready to market. So we believe that those improvements, those roadway improvements, will help alleviate the traffic concern along Hodgeville in time for these products to be delivered to market for lease.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or against this request?
I just need to ask a few questions, since that's joining me. That 18 acres, is it gonna be a single story? Is it gonna have privacy fences? And how much of a buffer?
It will have a buffer. It will have, can you go, do you have the information, Ms. Chelsea?
So we can talk about buffers,
Sure.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
We don't talk about stories or rents or anything like that.
Can someone look at the map that they sent us in the mail and show us exactly what they're speaking of? Because this map up here is not real clear. I don't even see.
Can you put
Could
the,
she come to the
can you,
microphone?
can, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to. Can somebody put the other map up?
So here is the, sorry. Here's the aerial map.
So you see where it's drawn out in red?
Red?
The red line around the purple?
Okay.
It's right between Belmont Glen and New Haven.
Oh. So,
Ma'am,
what side of the road is?
ma'am,
on?
if you're gonna speak, I need you to speak into this microphone. You can come. Do you have any additional questions, Mr. Jeffers?
Well, I'd just like to know what the buffer will be and what the footage will be and,
Well, we'd like someone to look at this map and let us know if this is what you're speaking of, or maybe you're not.
Could you hand it to
speaking of that.
Mr., I mean, it's on their property, right?
Yeah.
It's
it
contained in
doesn't-
their property.
doesn't-
It doesn't need buffers.
Yeah, it doesn't need buffers in, I don't think, and it doesn't join Mr. Jeffers. It's on the opposite side of the road.
That's Gitsy, yeah.
Yes, you
So
know where the
this
ballpark is?
Is this
By
one.
Belmont Glen,
That
it
is
joins the
canceled.
ballpark.
It's not here
It's in
tonight.
between the ballpark and
They
the brand
pulled
new
it.
subdivision that's being built.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe not this week, maybe not next week, but it's coming sometime.
All right, thank you.
But that's not this one. That's the one that got canceled.
Anything in the mail regarding that, but I think we will.
but I'm just concerned with what it be.
That is gonna be a lot of stuff, and when we see it, we'll let you see it. Well, we ain't seen it yet, but it's coming. Yeah.
So,
They
Mr.
haven't
Jeffers,
They haven't even drawn it yet.
Are you good with this explanation?
Yeah, he said it'll be later now.
Okay.
So
I
it's-
got you.
It's the IDA site.
Oh, I see.
That got
It's a
canceled.
different, okay. It's not even this item. Okay. Thank you. You're good. Yes, sir.
Good evening, my name is Anthony Bouchard. I live at 104 Flat Creek Lane, which is within the Belmont Glen subdivision.
Oh, sorry.
You look up on the map, it is just south of the indicated area outlined in red. My concerns are that the owner, the property owner and developer have not, they've owned this property for a long time in speculation. However, that speculation has been overtaken by events from 2014 on, current and pending projects being approved to improve the infrastructure, utilities, roads, the schools, and everything like that. The addition of this amount of people at this time, it doesn't really work. That road is jam-packed, and I've lived there from 2012 until current. And that whole corridor, Hodgeville Road from Blue Jay all the way down to 30 is jam-packed. And not only is the road jam-packed at just about any hour of the day now with all of the construction as well. So it's not just at your high points in the morning, high points in the afternoon, it's all day long. The second and third order effects are not being considered. And I understand that this man owns this property and wants to realize the profit from that. But he's doing that without consideration to the expense of everybody in that corridor at this time because the infrastructure cannot support what it has now from the growth from 2014 on to where we are presently, plus the addition of probably 2,200 people, 400 cars, and those students to the schools, which we have already had to address with the high school and the middle school expansions, and having to look at elementary schools. Now, if this gentleman doesn't want to change the way he's speculating from a commercial prospect to a residential prospect, I think he needs to wait for the infrastructure to catch up. Before, if he just is adamant about putting apartments there, he needs to wait because there's nothing for an apartment complex there. You have to have cars, motorized vehicles of some sort. You're 6 miles from just about anywhere where you might need to get gas, groceries, food, or anything else. So I would ask that we continue to deny that change at present because it's unsustainable. And although there are plans in the works to address the infrastructure problems as far as transportation, utilities, and schools, we're not there even close yet. So I would just request that you guys consider a further denial of this particular proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bouchard.
Good evening. My name is Todd Winderoth. I too live in the Belmont Glen subdivision. And trying to scribble here. I was here last year debating the same subject, hoping that this problem would be rectified, and apparently it's resurfaced itself, and the monsters have come together because item 11, right across the street, you have items on Goshen, all dotted on Blue Jay. Guess where they're coming? Right down Hodgeville Road, trying to get out of town like the rest of us. People can't come here and complain like they did last time, because guess where they're at? Still trying to get home in the traffic. So understanding the parkway, you can't tell me that that's going to be the answer to all the future subdivisions coming out. This place has been dotted and dotted. Hodgeville, to me, has been picked on. For some reason, it is just every bunch of vultures wanting to come in and terrorize the community. I think the development will probably one day come. I'm just hoping it's not today. This problem is echoed by the last gentleman who just spoke. I clap and applaud. I don't want to repeat everything that's been going on, but there was a reason why the commissioners voted last year not to do it, and the county commissioners agreed with us. It's not today. I hope you guys do the same thing and deny this. Living, again, on the dotted, I just wanted to kind of visualize something for a minute. We have the New Haven subdivision that has actually became a part of the Belmont Glen subdivision. We adopted them in our HOA. So that's already growing and still growing, still building. That was one day realized, and now it's realized to where we're getting a lot more traffic, a lot more cars, can't do anything about it. But with these two items, 10 and 11, going to destroy the roads, going to destroy the community. It's just too much. And you go with the schools, where are they going to go? My granddaughter got redistrict, has to hop on a bus, go across down to Rincon, because we thought we were living in the district that we bought the home in. Now they're being shipped. I don't know what they're thinking, but for a profit, you're destroying a lot of lives for people trying to live and trying to get to work and come home. All that parkway goes down Benton. Everybody's racing for Benton and 21 to get on the 95 and head to Savannah, and the reverse. I don't care how many roads you put in there, it's not going to do if we keep doing what we're doing today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and my name's Woody Bagley. I live on Forest Haven. I'll reiterate about what the last two gentlemen just said. You know, I've been here 15 years now and been asking for control of the traffic a little more. I said, why don't we put turn lanes at both ends of Hodgeville, turn lanes at both ends of Colic-Helmick, that kind of stuff, and this has been going on for 8 years and better now. We don't have any turn lanes. We haven't done anything for the people that already live here. We just piling more and more people in. We got the two big subdivisions there on Hodgeville now. We got another one being right across from Southern Hills. That's been approved already. Now we've got these coming in, and everything is coming in is multifamily. And it's not multifamily to buy, it's multifamily to rent. Just like the one there on, what is it, not Colic-Helmick, but Blue Jay, and where it crosses over McCall Road, that big development there, that's for leasing only. There's nobody buying in there, so we don't have any permanent residents. And it's all multifamily, which adds more cars to the road. And Hodgeville hadn't had a thing done to it since I've been living here, and that's been 15 years. And now I got another battle I'm fighting with Forest Haven being attached to the Parkway. They said they're going to add 2,700 cars a day to my front driveway. So, I mean, I'm just totally against. We need to slow the development down and do the infrastructure before we keep on doing multifamily and multifamily and multifamily. So
Thank-
you can figure out what my vote would be for it.
Yes, sir. I think we got it. Thank you, Mr. Bagley.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or, yes, sir?
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing? Jeff Schilke, 115 Saddle Club Way. I also live in Belmont Glen. We moved here 7 years ago, and Hodgeville has continued to get worse and worse every single year. To get anywhere in the morning, when you leave at 7 o'clock, you leave your house, you wait a minimum 15 to 20 minutes at that light to get onto 30. And that's just because they just put the light in on 30. And adding another big subdivision in that area, there's no room for them in the schools. We're already busing kids from Belmont Glen across over into Rincon to Blandford when they should be going to South Elementary, just around the corner from us. Then you're gonna add more roundabouts on Goshen, on Blue Jay, and on Colic-Hemley. You're never gonna get anywhere. In the morning, in the evening, you're never gonna get home. You're never gonna get out anywhere to go to Savannah, to go to Port Wentworth. There's too much traffic in the area now, and we're not doing anything to help support the growth. I'm not against growth, believe me. I like growth, but if we don't have the infrastructure to keep things growing and take steps to prepare, we're causing more and more problems and giving ourselves more and more headaches, and people are gonna just revolt. I mean, it's awful. I don't know where you guys all live, but if you ever drive down Hodgeville, it's awful. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Shoki. Anyone else wish to speak? All right. Is there somebody else back there? Good evening.
Hi, I'm Jackie Deemer, D-E-E-M-E-R. I'm going to sign first. And I live off of Hodgeville. So we're all in the same boat here, sinking very quickly, trying to get out of our driveways, trying to get out of onto Hodgeville off of any of our subdivisions. I'm not against growth. I think growth is wonderful and it's necessary, but I think we need to slow down a little bit. There's so much already gone up between Blue Jay and Goshen. There's a really huge development on Goshen, and that is a problem. We have 6 miles of road from Highway 30 to Blue Jay. And yes, Port Wentworth put us up a red light finally, and I know there's going to be a roundabout, and I think roundabouts are a great way to go. However, if the red light had gone up and you had put a left and right turn lane, the people who are trying to turn right to go to the school would not have to sit until the red light turns again. You follow me? There's a way to improve. Same thing happens when you go down Hodgeville to Blue Jay. And that road, if you've been down it recently, you can really tear up a tire if you're not careful. It needs to be resurfaced or at least cleaned up for the traffic. So my thing is, I would like to ask that we slow down some development, that we first tend to maybe, if you can't 4-lane Hodgeville, can we at least widen it and have a left and right turn lane so that we don't back up and people do get impatient, and they do have a lot of wrecks on that road. They're fender benders, but they're still wrecks. So I would ask that we slow down with development at this point and look at maybe 2 years down the road. But please give us a better road. We've got those trucks coming out of the concrete plant, and we get behind one of them and you've got to back up because if they were to ever hit somebody or you would hit them. So just consider that Hodgeville is a necessary road. It's a wonderful little area, but we're just too overgrown for the amount of traffic. We need some help with that road. So thank you. And I have learned a lot tonight. Thank you.
It feels all good. Thank you, Ms. Deemer. And your comments about the road and turning lanes are everybody's. I mean, obviously those are better suited addressed to the county commissioners who do make those decisions. So don't leave those comments out when you get to that meeting. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? All right, I'm gonna close public comment.
Mr. Chair, can I ask the applicant one question again, please?
Yes, sir.
He can come to the microphone. Thank you. So you said that multifamily creates, in your estimate, 4.78 trips a day? 4.1?
Well, that's for townhomes specifically.
Okay.
Our estimate was 4.5 trips per unit.
Per unit, and that was based on
That's based on the typical.
national standard
Yes, sir.
for transportation, national.
IT.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting
IT
because
trip-
single-family units create 9.76 trips a day. So I'm curious how multifamily can half that.
I don't have the table in front of me, but
Okay.
that would, IT would be our source on that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, once again, anyone wish to make any comments?
I'm trying to recall when this thing came up last year, what was the big drawback? I know there was a big public outcry from that subdivision adjoining it. But
Well-
it seemed like the water issue was gonna displace a lot of water and flood Hodgeville and.
I mean,
Was that-
for me, I mean, I remember the fact that this is a county maintained road and,
Public hearing is over.
yes, sir. Did
Gentlemen,
you,
if I could help refresh your memory, it was the utilities, as I mentioned, and that includes the water sewer. There was extremely low pressure. They did manage to get that pump station recently completed, which has improved the problem to a degree. But again, if we continue to expand, outpacing our infrastructure, we'll just be back here again arguing about it. But it was utility-driven, and the fact that at that time, just recently, residents in the Belmont Glen subdivision were notified that they were splitting school zones. And that affected a lot of people adversely as far as the convenience of them doing their day-to-day. So, you know, it's an infrastructure thing, and again, nobody has said no, never, nuh-uh, but we have to pace it so that we can get some breathing room.
Thank you.
again.
so, you know, my biggest concern, again, is, and I know we're probably gonna disagree on this, Ryan, but, townhomes on a county maintained road. I mean, we have, you know, recently, all of our townhomes have been on the state highways. I am once again afraid that by opening that door, we'll never close it again. And that will be every rezoning we see after that. This is, 19 acres with 171 units. I mean, we're looking at 9 units to the acre. So they've got a very good piece of property that's zoned commercial, as part of a planned development, and my personal opinion is that's what it needs to stay.
I agree with that as well. The traffic and the infrastructure is an issue in that area. The roads are not the DOT standards. Though there's truck traffic on them, there are no truck routes. And I think those type of developments are good in certain places, but they need to have the roads and the infrastructure to support them.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson?
Well, I'll go back to, I guess, to my initial question. I know this is a PD, but that doesn't mean we couldn't ask about buffers and what it's going to look like for an adjacent roadway. I do care about that aspect of it, especially when we're changing the use. Commercial needs visibility, residential doesn't really. I know this plan that was attached with it wasn't necessarily part of the zoning application, I guess, but I just would like to see some more teeth to protecting what was going to happen there, and a bit more detail on the traffic related. I mean, knowing that traffic's that big of a concern, traffic impact studies aren't required at zoning, but they can certainly help us make a decision, so.
You good? Anyone else? I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Have a motion for denial. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Mr. Higgins. All those in favor of denial? Any opposed? Motion carried 4-1. Once again, this is a recommendation to the county commissioners. They may have a different opinion. Thank you to everyone that spoke.
December 5th?
December 5th, 6 p.m.
They have one item that has been tabled.
Can I bring that? Can I bring the call for the lemon now ahead of our stuff?
Yeah. Is it here?
All right. We'll find out. Is Mr. Howard Lemon or a representative thereof here present? No. All right. We'll clean that up at the very end of the meeting, I guess.
You can bring the 2 sketch plans up if you'd like.
Yeah,
But we still got to do subdivision.
yeah. You want to move on to sketch plan?
Yes.
Can I do that without a motion?
Yes.
Again?
As long as you get consensus.
Consensus? Y'all good to move on to sketch plan? All right. Item number 1. On sketch plans, Warren Kennedy requests approval of sketch plan for 80 storage lot located at 195 Elm Street, Zone B3, First District. Who's presenting this? Miss Sammy?
Yes.
All right.
Samantha Easton, Planner 2. The applicant has requested approval for the sketch plan for 80 storage lot. The rezoning was approved by the Board of Commissioners on October 3rd for an outdoor storage facility. Conditions on the rezoning were that only Type 1 through Type 5 vehicles were allowed on Elm Street. There are 10-foot buffers on Elm Street and Highway 80, with 30-foot buffers on the residential side, 15 on the commercial side. Applicant does have to replant the vegetated buffers, and staff has been in contact with them to get those replanted. Staff is recommending alternative 1.
Thank you. Questions? Discussion from the board.
What's it gonna be, a storage locker play? What is this?
Yeah. This is gonna be like Mr. Newkirk's, same thing.
Okay.
So will they have to submit engineering drawings for this? It's over 5,000 square feet on it, isn't it?
If he covers more than 5,000 square feet of impervious surface, he will have to do stormwater management design. Yes, sir. But for sketch plan, he does not need to do engineering.
Oh, yeah, no, I
plans.
understand that. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we understood that, because that's understanding what that parking area is and what's going to be required, and the fact that if it's impervious, the expectation that you're parking on every spot that's not a buffer is probably not a
And the applicant is here
expectation.
if you want him to address these concerns.
I just wanted to be clear that it needs to be addressed during the review
Where is
from
this?
staff.
Is it in Bloomingdale and Falkville? Where is this?
Highway 80 and Sand Hill.
Yeah, it's that little piece that's right at the end of
All the way
Elm.
toward Bryan County.
Yeah, you're about to
By
cross the
Octane,
bridge
it is.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Or do you need to address with you need to get the owner up here?
It doesn't matter. I mean, I just wanted to be clear that,
Okay.
like, there's another step, and that just because we're approving a sketch plan
Yes.
that shows parking and using every spot that's not a buffer doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be able to do so.
Good.
Great.
All right. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for a motion on this sketch.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Item 2, sketch plan for Ray DeMott as agent for Quail Preserve LLC. Request approval of sketch plan for Falkville Flex, located on US Highway 80, Zone AR1. This is the First District.
Oh, yeah, this is that little.
Yes, sir. Samantha Easton, Planner 2. There should be a correction made to the agenda. that is supposed to be B. I lost my paper, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Right.
The correct zoning is B3.
B3?
B3, sorry.
Sorry.
The applicant is requesting approval for a sketch plan for Falkville Flex. The board approved the rezoning on October 3rd, and in the November 7th meeting, they approved the variance request to eliminate the buffer to the south side. There is 2 access points to Highway 80, one on each side of the triangle in the middle. The applicant has been in contact with GDOT and has started the permitting process. There is 10-foot buffers on the side touching Highway 80, 15-foot on the triangle, and 30-foot on the Marlow Road. Staff recommends alternative 1.
Mr. Chair, does the microphone work over there for Miss Easton?
Could you hear me? Is the microphone turned on?
Is the recorder not picking it up?
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Was that not close enough?
Was not close enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Easton. Questions, comments? There are,
I guess just, again, same kind of comments. I know this will be further engineered, but the access points and all will require GDOT approval. Have y'all gotten started in that aspect of anything? Sorry, I guess I should ask you before I ask a question like that.
sorry, you're good.
Be official, come up to the microphone. Yes, we've started the process with them, but we're still waiting on the full surveys and so forth before we can make any submittal, but we've bounced it off them.
Can I get your name?
Jay Maupin, Maupin Engineering.
Thank you. Nothing further, I'll call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Zipper, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried by all. Thank you, Mr. Maupin.
Thank you.
Item 3, sketch plan, David Morrow as agent for Limphos Chemical Incorporated, requests approval of sketch plan for Waterford Apartments located on Goshen Road, Zone R3, 2nd District. Ms. Easton.
So the applicant is requesting approval for a sketch plan for Waterford Apartments located on Goshen Road. This rezoning was approved initially in 2005. In the initial rezoning, there has to be 4 acres of B2 located somewhere on the 59 total acres. Previous staff has allowed for the applicant to choose where the B2 is placed. The sketch plan is only concerning the 9 acres shown here. The applicant must submit an updated plat subdividing out this 9 acres. They have also submitted an updated draft master plan that should be in your packet as well. And the applicant will have to come back through the rezoning process to remove the conditions that were added to the original rezoning. There's a 20-foot buffer surrounding this entire 9 acres, and it's 60 units total. Staff is recommending alternative 1.
There's only one way in that place?
For the 9 acres, yes, sir. For the other 50, there will be a 60-foot access directly located next to it that you can see in the master plan.
So we're just approving phase 1 sketch plan, is that what I'm seeing then?
Yes, sir, correct. And this is the master plan, the draft master plan.
So the orange buildings are the future commercial that's being limited?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think I've got just a clarification question.
Kenan Stroud with Robert Civil Engineering, authorized agent for David Morrow and the group. What's our question?
That it's understood that non-viable commercial in the future is not a reason to change your sketch plan to get rid of the required commercial. That's if we're talking about master plan and sketch plan, I just want to make sure that if there's a requirement for commercial, that's going to be in my opinion, challenging place to have the commercial. So
Understood. It's actually being bought, this 9 acres being bought by another group, and the current owner of it all is actually amenable to the commercial in that area. Supposedly has had conversations with groups about potential for commercial, but I do not know if he has any plans of when that is coming.
Yeah, my point was just to clarify that this is using up the McCall or the Goshen frontage, correct?
Correct.
So you're selling the phase one?
Well, it's being bought with this plan. So the person who owns the 59 overall acres, I believe is what it is, this client is buying the 9 acres for this apartment.
And that's phase one on this.
Well, that's our whole phase. It's phase 1 for the overall development, I guess, is what we called
Then
it.
the
but
additional 50 acres will be developed
later on.
phase two and phase three.
Correct.
So the commercial's actually gonna be on yours later? Part of
Well,
phase two? Or is it part of
on
phase
the
one?
owner's development of the larger tract that's not being subdivided off, correct?
Yeah, it will be a whole new access, yeah.
Yes, there's a 60-foot strip that was left for access, in which there's a potential for this plan can be where there's the 2 jut outs, can connect to that access as well to give a second option.
How many total units in phase one?
60.
I think it would be good to, well, there's nothing on the sketch plan of phase one that shows that that connection will happen to phase two.
We can add a note if that's needed. It is something that the client is happy to do with that second option. That's kind of why we left those
You
two
talking about
jut
like that little walk?
at that.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
dash connection. On the master plan, you can see it. I mean, I'm just saying from a standpoint of the viability of developing out phase three.
You mean walkability? Walkability?
Well, no, I'm saying from a standpoint of having 2 points of access in phase three, potentially, so I just would think that would be a good thing to consider, but. Did I say walkability?
No, I said walkability. Were you not here for that?
so you were saying that we should have 2 points of access for the remaining phases?
Well, you will,
Dude, I'm thinking it would be wise to.
The ordinance doesn't require it.
but he
But
does,
the
right?
bigger they are, sometimes they
The plan shows it.
benefit from
Oh.
2 points of access.
Okay, I'm
course.
gotcha, I'm looking at.
Yeah,
that.
and I don't think, like I said, we can add the note if that's what you would like on the site plan, but I don't think it's gonna be the goal of them to direct the rear traffic through the
Looking at-
development, but more
These two aren't
so
the same.
as options from that commercial area to go through kind of that phase 1, phase 2 as 2 access
Yeah,
points.
it ain't like the,
Yeah, no, look, it's just it doesn't have to be, in my opinion, just as a thought for the future developability of it, fire code, those kind of things, it wouldn't have to be necessarily open to the public, just an emergency access point. That if it's got a building or something put across it, you'll never have the ability to do it for the future piece, so.
Mr. Chair, just a reminder, we are only talking about the 9 acres tonight, not the draft master plan.
yeah, which is because the master plan now looks nothing like this sketch, does it? Or does it?
No, it's just.
It does.
Yeah,
But the
just
road-
that small portion
yeah,
of there, yeah.
Right.
But I guess that's my point,
And that-
right? The master plan's showing something that again, I hate to keep saying that, but it's showing something I think that's good, that the sketch plan's not, that the sketch plan's what we're approving tonight.
Yes, agreed.
Okay.
And just to clarify, in case, on the master plan, that second access is not part of this 9 acres. There's a 60-foot easement
Right.
slip that was, I guess, left out of the deal. So that'll be used for that.
Anything further? Call for a motion.
Whose district?
It's mine, I think.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion for approval, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carried by all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, now what? Where are we at?
Mr. Lemon.
We'll deal with him last. Don't let me forget. All right. Item 12 is public hearing for consideration of amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Official Code, Appendix B, subdivisions. They don't want to go. They're waiting for them.
Okay, all right, okay. They're waiting for some donuts.
Thank you. All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Waiting. on
Okay,
you.
sorry. So subdivision. So this is something that I know everybody wanted to work on at some point in time. So I will give you what we've done so far on the subdivision ordinance as soon as I find it.
Time's up.
All right. So this is from.
You weren't here for the workshop. You can leave.
I gotta wait till we talk about lemon.
So here's what we've done to the subdivision ordinance. So revisions were made throughout the entire document, but the major changes below were provided. All definitions were reviewed for consistency with the zoning ordinance and for update and clarification. So there were some conflicts in this with the zoning ordinance, so those have been corrected. We changed the word preliminary plan to the word preliminary plat. The preliminary plat is a draft of the final plat, which will be recorded to legally create the subdivision, and therefore the term plat is more appropriate than plan. And then this step of the process, and then also in addition to the term plan, it's more appropriate associated with the zoning ordinance where we talk about subdivision regulations. We separated construction plans from preliminary plat review. So now construction plans are reviewed by a professional engineer, either on staff or who we hire to ensure compliance with all codes and requirements of Effingham County. So we added clarifications for the provision and requirements and maintenance of minor subdivisions along private roads. That was one of the things that we done fairly bad. And then we clarified the authority of the Board of Commissioners to treat subdivisions for intermediate family members. We added the provision for a special service district for maintenance of private roads. The maintenance disclaimer is now required on the final plat when this gets approved. We did review and update some of the roadway design standards. We removed planned developments from the subdivision regulations. And we added maintenance requirements for improvements that are not dedicated to Effingham County. Also in the subdivisions, I want you to know in the definitions, there is the definition of a family subdivision. There's the definition of a minor subdivision. They are not the same. So family is 0 to 4, and then minor subdivision is 5 to 10. So 0 to 4 is going to continue to have the 60-foot easement that we require. The minor subdivisions are going to be 5 to 10, and it has slightly higher standards for road improvements, more than the family, but not as much as the major subdivision.
So what's allowed?
What's allowed?
What's allowed? I mean, what kind of standards?
I think it's a 80-foot easement. Let me look and see.
80-foot easement.
Yeah, 80 foot. I'm sorry. Right away. Yep.
So, what? So I just went and pulled what was on the web agenda. Is that the version that we should be looking at?
Yes, sir.
So is it different?
I don't know. I guess I was looking through. Can't say I read every word of it. When I was reading
We don't
through
need
it,
to read every word of
No,
it.
but I'm saying I looked for the stuff that was struck through. But
Yeah.
all this other stuff isn't necessarily struck through because I didn't see that much.
If it's
things
not
being
struck through,
or
it
added.
didn't change. Right. Now there's a red version.
Mine, you don't get red ideas of it. So that's
Did you
just-
see the red version?
No, not that I
Okay.
remember seeing it. But
It didn't show up red on my phone.
yeah, I didn't. That's why I was having trouble because a lot of what I heard is great things of what we've been talking about.
Exactly.
The only things I really saw, and I did have a question or two, were related to the definition changes, and those did have strikes through them. But even those seem to both reference family subdivisions, even though they're intending to, like one says.
So
family, one
the
says-
definitions of the subdivisions are more recent than what the contractors gave us on the subdivision. That's why you see the strike-throughs. So what we'll do is, we will send you the strike-through, so you can take a look at that. Okay?
Yeah, because like the version I'm looking at is 3.2.17A, changes from minor to family, and references the 5 lots or less.
We'll send you the original version from the developer, and then you can compare it to that one. I mean, not the developer, the contractor.
Sir, did you have a question, or were you just hanging around listening?
No, I just have never been here before, so I was just kind of.
Good, thank you.
I could go.
No, you're good.
No, you're fine. This is public. I mean, this is
This
is how we decide what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Everybody's fate.
It's called misery loves company.
Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So we'll send that out to you, and y'all can take a look at that, okay?
So we're not voting on this tonight?
I mean, that's not about me. But that's,
I mean, is
that's
that
not
what he
me.
just said?
He just wants to know. He should know.
So are we gonna vote on this tonight? I
No.
mean, you're,
Nope. Not,
okay,
nope.
good.
Nope, you need to.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not trying to be a.
His comfort level is not there on this one.
Okay, good, thank you.
I know it's not there on the other one, but it's really not here on this one.
Yeah.
The other one will work on them a little bit, so.
Well, the
Subdivision, and this is a planner's opinion and years of experience. Subdivision has the most influence on the makeup of a county in land use and infrastructure, anything else we can do in this room. Residential business and commercial rezoning, all that, doesn't compare to what subdivision does to the county. It is a huge, you gotta get this right.
Agreed.
And as much struggles as you guys had even in my term and before that, we got to get it right. We won't rush it, but we got to get it right, but we got to get it done. So, but it's so important. You go up in the airplane, you don't see land use. What do you see? You see subdivision everywhere. All the, the designs and where everything goes and what it's hooked up to, it's all subdivision. That's what happened. That's why it's a major, major thing that we need to concentrate on.
Well, I mean, all land's being subdivided one way or another.
That's right.
All kinds of shapes and sizes.
Now, the table permitted uses though. And we made a bunch of changes, but that's good. That's what you guys are supposed to do. That's what we want, some changes.
So we'll table this.
That's up to you.
I mean, I'd like to table it. Anybody else got a?
What I heard, I liked. I just didn't see it in the text.
Okay.
So.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to table.
Have a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Thompson. All those in favor of tabling? Any opposed? Motion carried by all.
Subdivision, right?
That was subdivision.
Okay, now will you talk about the table of permitted uses?
Mine's mixed up.
We can have that heartburn too?
Mine's mixed all up.
Mine's all messed up too. You gonna have it locked.
It's right here.
So the table of permitted uses that we went through earlier.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Item 13, public hearing, consideration of an amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Visual Code, Appendix C, Article 5, Table of Permitted Uses.
Thank you.
Which some of us went through. I won't be here next time either.
He had already agreed to them.
You're free to this, my commissioner.
That's right.
30 minutes, you're in, you're out. Here's your money.
So the table of permitted uses, again, is Article 5. So we've done 8 and 1 and several different articles, 6 another one. So we're doing it in pieces so it's easier to go through and we can make stuff, changes like that. So you've still got definitions, that's Article 2. You've still got Article 9 where we started the signs, but we still got some signs to go through. And so you still got Table 5, and then more importantly, you got Table 4. Table 4 is the description of what all the land uses are, okay? So you got definitions and descriptions that are left. I can't do those till we decide what everything else is gonna do, then we can write descriptions to them, okay? But the table of permitted uses, is on the agenda for adoption, it's a public hearing at the commissioners next month. So we can make the changes you guys said tonight, we can send it out to you, but I really would like to get it to the commissioners so we can get that done. Now, that being said, when we have the final document all together, you're gonna see it all again. You're gonna see it in one complete form because that's what the contract calls for from the vendor to bring back to you in one complete form.
But are we going to get the comment and change it again?
Oh, yeah, you're gonna get all
Won't
of
be
it.
frowned upon.
Yeah.
Keep
Keep your notes. Yeah, keep your notes. So, and I mean, that's what I don't bring these to you. We need to change them. If you don't like them, you know what's going on out there. You need to change them. That's the whole point of doing it. I'm fine with it. But I just,
I mean,
So that's why I brought up, I need kind of make a decision whether or not I will think this is appropriate use in this zoning district. I need to know the definition. I know you said there's a comment, but if I don't know how it's defined and how it's controlled in the definition, I don't know if I'm comfortable. It's, that's
That's okay.
just kind of how I wrap my head around them.
Yep. And I can't define it till I know where it's at. I mean, a repair shop, and we're the ones that are supposed to interpret the zoning ordinance. That's the way it's said. Article 1, Article 9 is that staff interprets the zoning ordinance. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a say in what definition, I'm not saying that. But if somebody comes in and says it's auto repair, is it paint and body? Is it fender bender? I mean, what is it really?
Right.
So, it could be 10 different things, right?
I'm in the city limits, I don't care.
I know. If you can do what Brad's doing, you're auto repair. There you go. What about truck repair?
Huh?
What about truck repair?
I've got a body
You
shop
good
too.
to
Yes.
send it to the commissioners and take a look at it?
But the rest of the board is, I'm not gonna vote for that, but fine if it's 4-1, I'm completely fine with that.
Anybody else? Peter, you were here. You comfortable to send it on? So here's basically two options. They would appreciate moving the table that we worked on to the county commissioners. Obviously, we made a lot of changes.
It was good input too. Everybody learned something.
Whenever they clean it up, Steve will send us another copy to take a look at.
Oh, it'll be cleaned up tomorrow.
I just need a motion.
And they may do more stuff at the commissioner meeting.
Are they having a workshop, or they gonna just review it during the meeting?
Having a workshop too.
So they may totally change it from where we are.
They really like you guys, so I don't think they'll change.
Your
it.
vote doesn't count.
The changes you made to it are what makes Effingham County Effingham County. So they're going to support that, in my personal opinion, that's what changes you made. And we're not going to get it right the first time anyway. We'll have to come back and do it again.
All right, I'm good to send it on.
Make a motion that we send Article 5, table of permitted uses onto the county commissioners.
Motion to send it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Brad. All those in favor of sending? Any opposed? 4-1.
Thank you.
Item 3, Howard Lemon III. Request a conditional use for
That's him right there.
residential
He's Howard
business. He's
Lemon.
not.
Can you be Howard
Can you
Lemon
please
III?
be Howard Lemon? So I guess my biggest question, I didn't want to really, because of a lot of the controversy that was going on. So now we've got a shed that we're using as a taxidermy business in a residential business.
Already.
In a subdivision.
With environmental waste.
And the applicant's not here.
And the applicant's not here. So we can either table it, let's see.
Please.
Yeah, this is his only shot, so I would say we table it. All right, so motion.
I'll make a motion.
December 2024.
Shut up, Brad.
Make a motion that we table this to the next, meeting.
Have a motion to table. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Zipper. All those in favor?
Aye.
You just couldn't, you gonna make me tell you to shut up every meeting, aren't you?
Till
Is that
you
your
fire
goal?
me.
Is that your goal? I'd like to say to staff, I mean, thank you for the hard work and thank you for having thick skin and allowing us to not agree on everything.
That's fine.
That's not been something that we've had in the past.
100% agree. That's the whole reason I wanted to serve on this board, was not just to be deciding 2-acre subdivisions and rezonings. It was to have influence on this, because I think it's very important.
Oh,
So
that's exciting. It's exciting. It really is. The other thing I want to let you know is also in conjunction with all this, that probably at the beginning of 2024, simultaneously with finishing up the ordinances, we're going to start working on the comprehensive plan.
We need that.
So that's going to be, I mean,
Budget more than one meeting for that.
that's right. Oh, there's going to be more than one meeting for that, yeah.
Thank y'all. Anybody else?
Mr. Chair, before you adjourn, can you tell me who seconded the table motion for Mr. Lemon's item?
I think I did.
Brad did.
Brad did.
I did something tonight. Want
He
acknowledgement.
wants to get paid.
And we're tabling to the December meeting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Until the following meeting.
2024.
And strongly encourage him to be here.
Oh. All right.
He's ready to go.
Meeting adjourned.